Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Olivia Smith and this is Get Savvy with Social. Today we're going to be talking about how to get your wedding announcement in the New York Times. Something a lot of us have questions about. I know I spent a lot of time looking into it before I made my submission and then we finally got in. So I'm here to tell you how to do it. But before we begin, be sure to look below and make sure you click subscribe. Now, I Googled around trying to find how to do it, and there wasn't that much information out there. So I'm gonna tell you how we did it. First, it all begins with the New York Times wedding submissions on their website. So Google New York Times wedding submissions, and that's where you're going to submit your announcement. Now, they're gonna ask you to write up an announcement there. So what I did with the help of my husband and family was actually spend some time reading the New York Times wedding announcements. You know, it's something we do every once in a while, but when you actually wanna write your announcement, it's a really good idea to go and check how it's written, right? So when you're submitting your announcement, you're kind of copying that format. Is it Mr. and Mrs.? What names are used? Who's included in the announcement? And following that outline will really help you shape the way you want to submit it to the New York Times. So make sure to either go to their website, pick up a newspaper, and do some research. See the format and try to copy that when you're writing your announcement to submit to them. They're also going to ask you for a lot of information. They want information from you and your partner, from your family. They want to know where you're getting married. And something that's also pretty important, which we didn't realize at the time, is a photo. Yes, we submitted a photo, but we didn't submit a photo with our eyes in the same line. And that is something that they really want. If you actually go and look at wedding announcements, you'll realize that every photo has the couple head by head with eyes in one line. So again, not something that is very intuitive, and we did submit a photo. We thought our eyes were close enough, but they wrote back to us and said, hey, can you actually resubmit a photo with your eyes in line? Now I'm 5'7", my husband's almost 6'6", so having our eyes on the same level is not always easy, and we didn't really have any photos with our eyes literally next to each other. Just be sure that whatever photo you submit, even if you have to take a new one, has your eyes on the same line. My last tip is to try and include information that makes you stand out. We had a pretty good meet cute story. We had both met at the ABC News Bureau in Los Angeles. We had previously worked in New York but never met there, and we met at the Bureau in LA. That was a fun story, two journalists coming together at work. But I've read a lot of wedding announcements where people meet online or they just meet through friends, so it doesn't have to be a meet cute, but I think that helped us a little bit. Something else I've heard which could contribute is who is your officiant. My dad was actually our officiant, and that was also something that I think helped contribute to it. He wrote the ceremony, it was beautiful. Be sure to check it out if you haven't already. And I think that contributed as well. Something very important to keep in mind after you submit, as your wedding approaches, as you're waiting to hear if you're going to be in the New York Times, make sure you tell people, your parents and your partner, that they're probably going to be getting a call from the New York Times. They fact check the wedding announcement. I got a call, he got a call, our parents got calls, and I remember after they called me first telling my mom and dad, you know, turn on your phones, make sure you don't miss the call, and my husband doing that with his parents as well. So that's a fun little tidbit. People will be getting calls. So again, make sure everything's very accurate, very factual, as it always should be, and that people should be aware they may be hearing from the New York Times. So there you go. I hope that helps. The biggest tip really is to make sure to check their wedding submission guidelines and follow those as closely as possible. Okay, so there you have it, how to get your wedding announcement in the New York Times from Get Savvy with Social. Thanks so much for following. I'm Olivia Smith, and stay tuned for more.